What's up, guys? It's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. Today I have Miss Spidey with me for the video. She's in her little glass dome right here. Today we're talking about something I am really passionate about: how to cure arachnophobia. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a therapist in my everyday life. So this is from my point of view and my experience in being a therapist. So I am sharing some ways that are really helpful for arachnophobia. Also, before we get into it, if you're new here, hello. I hope this is helpful for you. I've been a tarantula owner for many years and a therapist, so if you're coming here because you are having fears of spiders, I hope this is really helpful for you. But if you're here for any other reason, I do put out tarantula videos every single week, so you can feel free to subscribe if that's what you're into. And if you're already a subscriber and regular watcher, thank you so much for coming back, and I hope that you agree with what I'm gonna say. I'd also like to draw attention to my cup right here. It says, "Creep It Real." One of my dear friends gave this to me as a gift. I'm not sure where she got it, but maybe if you do a Google search, you can find this cup. I love it, it's huge, and it's perfect for when I'm talking a lot. So I get messaged a lot by people who want to get over their fear of spiders, and they've said that my work is really helpful, and I hope that it continues to be helpful. And a lot of people are really fascinated by tarantulas and spiders, but their fears kind of hold them back. And so if you're one of those people, I just want to say, my heart goes out to you. I myself have fears about a lot of things, and I struggle with anxiety as well. So I hope that what I'm gonna say will land in your mind, and that it registers as very compassionate and understanding feedback. So in my work as a therapist, one of the things that I've found to be very effective in terms of any phobia is exposure therapy. So gradual exposure therapy, where you slowly work up to confronting a phobia in various steps, each phase more intense than the last. I've seen this work extremely well for things such as germophobia, so I believe that it can totally be used for arachnophobia as well. A lot of people deep down are really fascinated by spiders. I myself was this way. I was a little scared of spiders too. I had a mild form of arachnophobia, so that might encourage somebody to want to get over their fears. But I really wanted to have a tarantula as a pet, and that was holding me back. So some people might want to recover from arachnophobia because of that, but for other people, it's just because they want to become more comfortable with spiders in general, because it's actually a really debilitating condition. Arachnophobia may not be as limiting and bothersome as something as germophobia, in which you're constantly coming across germs and interactions that might disturb you. But arachnophobia is also something that deeply limits your life. It's a very annoying condition, very anxiety provoking, because face it, spiders are everywhere. They're in your house, they're outside your house, you can't escape them. And I think if you're truly arachnophobic, you kind of live in this constant fight or flight where at any given time you could see a spider, and it adds this level of high unpredictability to your life. So getting to a good place to where your arachnophobia is no longer controlling your life and preventing you from being present in your life is something that you all deserve. So in this video, I want to suggest some things that might help you. So one of the first things you can do, and this is good for any fear, by the way, is to educate yourself. In therapy, one of the first things that we do is provide psychoeducation about any conditions or experiences that one might have. Knowledge is power, and sometimes a lot of fear and anxiety is caused simply because we don't have all the facts, and it's just the fear of the unknown. So by educating yourself on spiders or tarantulas, you might actually be able to reduce some of that fear, because you will learn that a lot of tarantulas or spiders aren't really that harmful and are at a very low risk of hurting you. Spiders are helpful, and they're great for using as pest control in your home or outside. They keep the environment in check. So sometimes delving into more of that information can be helpful. And also, remember, things like anxiety and fear are protective factors, and they do serve a purpose to keep you safe. However, unfortunately, a lot of times they're driven by mechanisms that perceive a danger that's not actually real. So if you can educate yourself and kind of let it sink in that spiders are not really of any threat to you, then perhaps that anxiety will be dialed down. To go along with the educational part of this, I also highly recommend that you join a tarantula group or a forum. There are a lot of tarantula groups on Facebook, and it's really not uncommon for those who suffer with arachnophobia to go on there and try to start educating themselves. There's a lot of people in my tarantula group even that don't have a tarantula, but perhaps they're trying to confront their fears from a safe distance. And this is like one of the first steps in exposure therapy. I really embrace this method, and I think it's really wonderful. Not only are you able to view pictures of spiders or tarantulas from a safe distance, but you're also able to educate yourself and learn and see them from the viewpoints of other people who perhaps aren't as fearful of them. If you start viewing them from the viewpoints of tarantula owners, you'll actually start to get a very loving perspective for them that you would have definitely never had before. The way that tarantula owners talk about their spiders is sometimes very endearing, and we talk about how silly they are and how funny they are and all the weird things that they do. And you're not going to get that education anywhere else. National Geographic is not going to talk about the time that their spider shot poo on you or something like that. And so sometimes it's hard to be really scared and look at tarantulas and spiders as monsters when you know that they are actually really nerdy and weird creatures that have these funny quirks. So I think that that can be really, really useful in helping just give you a wider view of what a spider is like or what a tarantula is like. I think that's actually the endearing part of Exotic's Layers YouTube channel, is that it gives outsiders a view of what a relationship between a tarantula owner and their tarantula and all these weird things that tarantulas do. It gives them that perspective. And so tarantulas become less scary over time because you know that they attack water or they do, other stupid things. Also, if you have any friends that have tarantulas, ask them about them. Trust me, they will not mind. Tarantula owners love talking about their spiders. They would be more than happy to talk to you. They could probably tell you stories for days. Honestly, the general population doesn't ask us about our tarantulas nearly enough or at all. So any tarantula owner would love the opportunity to help you get more comfortable with tarantulas, or at least educate you or answer any of the questions that you have. And so going along with exposure therapy, graded exposure therapy, if you can start to change your perception and begin to feel a little bit more comfortable with tarantulas, you might eventually be able to take the plunge and get your own. And this might seem like a really, really big first step, but hear me out. A spider in a cage can be a lot less triggering than a loose house spider running around. This actually allows you the ability to get to know a spider and study a spider in a safe environment from a safe distance. And you can always take baby steps. You do not have to jump to getting a big tarantula like Spidey that's full grown. You can start with a baby tarantula, a sling, who can't hurt you at all. There are a lot of species, beginner species, that grow really slowly. So as your tarantula slowly grows, for example, my sling, Blinky, I've had this thing for 1.5 years and it's still the size of my nail. So you have a lot of time to get used to that spider before it turns into something like this. So this allows you to slowly warm up to the idea of tarantulas not being as scary. I've heard a lot of former arachnophobes say that getting a tarantula was the thing that helped the most. It seems like tarantulas, with like their silly quirks and their weird ways of being, has a way of transforming fear into like curiosity and love. This is what happened to me, at least. I was actually pretty scared of Spidey when I first got her, but I started to see all her strange behaviors, and I started to see her as like such a cute animal, and she was just really endearing. And honestly, some days when she's really hungry and being a little fast in her tank, I'm still a little scared of her, but it's a different kind of fear. It's not debilitating. And having her has really changed the way I feel about spiders or bugs. I'm much more compassionate. They don't freak me out as much. I'm able to let house spiders live in my space now. So it's just made my life a lot more functional. Even though I only had a mild form of arachnophobia, I definitely saw results just by exposing myself, educating myself, jumping into the hobby. So maybe it'll work for you. And you don't have to get a tarantula to overcome your fear of spiders. I think the first few things that I mentioned, such as learning about spiders and talking to people who are actually really into spiders or own tarantulas, is a really, really 2 great steps that will get you very far in your journey. I wouldn't suggest getting a tarantula just to get over your fear of arachnophobia, because this is an animal. You need to research how to take care of it. That's a commitment that you're making to this animal. So if you're not into that, don't get it just to get over your fear. You know, you should take care of any living creature. But if you're a little bit curious, a tarantula can be a really, really great low maintenance pet that you can look after while you're doing that and facing your fears if you think that you're ready to make that commitment. The last thing I want to stress about arachnophobia is that curing arachnophobia is for you. When we have intense fears like this, whether it's arachnophobia, social anxiety, any fear, germophobia, these things control our lives. So there's no rush. You can go at your own pace, but think about how this might benefit your life. Think about, you know, what would it look like if you didn't have arachnophobia? How would this open up your life instead of limiting you? But if all else fails and perhaps you feel like you can't or are not ready or in a place to confront arachnophobia, please start by practicing kindness to spiders and all living things that you come across. If arachnophobia prevents you from sharing space with spiders, please practice conscious and humane removal processes. There are a lot of really great devices like this one, for example. I have a link in the description if you're interested. These devices keep you safe and it keeps the spider safe, so you don't have to worry about squishing it or getting up close to it. And you can still be really compassionate and humane. These things allow you to be at a pretty good distance from it without killing it. And so you can just take it and remove it and put it outside where it belongs, and both of you can go happily on your way. And I'm far from the only person suggesting tarantulas as a really wonderful way to get over the fear of arachnophobia. Tarantula Cat, another tarantula YouTuber, had done a really, really great video about how getting a tarantula helped her get over her own fears, as well as some other pointers. So I highly suggest that you watch that. It's a great video. I hope that this was really helpful for you. I know that having a phobia can be really difficult to live with. So I hope that the things that, at least just one of them, makes a difference for you and helps you think about that there might be solutions to this, because, you know, you certainly aren't sentenced to being phobic of something. There are ways that we can work through our weaknesses. So I hope this inspired you. I hope it gave you some hope. Let me know if you were arachnophobic before and spiders and tarantulas helped you out. Or if you have any other great tips for someone who might be struggling, please let me know in the comments. I'd be really, really interested in hearing them, and I'm sure that this will help other people out as well. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you want to learn even more about tarantulas and just whet your curiosity about tarantulas, definitely check out more of my videos. If you are on here because you are struggling with arachnophobia, I have a lot of really weird videos about tarantulas, but also a lot of really great tarantula facts that might definitely broaden your scope of how you think about these creatures. Definitely join some great tarantula groups on my Tarantula Heaven Facebook page. I do share a lot of funny memes about tarantulas, which might help you start to see tarantulas as funny instead of scary. And you can also check out my website, tarantulaheaven.com. I have a tarantula guide on there if you're curious. And you can sign up for my tarantula newsletter. I have all the links in the description. So those are good places to start too. But I wish you well in your journey. And I really hope that this has been useful to you. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.